Trail dust smudged the letter that arrived on Tuesday. Eleanor Hayes traced the careful script. Sweetwater, Montana. School teacher needed. $40 monthly. At 26, she'd never been courted. Never been kissed. Never been anything but the spinster daughter emptying bedpans in a Philadelphia boarding house. Now Mama was gone. The boarding house sold. Eleanor bought a ticket west. 3 weeks later, the stagecoach rattled into Sweetwater. Eleanor stepped down on trembling legs, her dress the color of the road, sweat plastering her hair to her skull. The town was a single street of weathered buildings, a crooked steepled church, and mountains rising like broken teeth against an impossibly blue sky. Miss Hayes. A weathered man approached. Thomas Webb. School board. Welcome to Sweetwater. He showed her to a rough cabin, then cleared his throat. There's one situation needs discussing. Caleb Mercer's daughter, Lily. 10 years old, bright as they come, but she hasn't spoken since her mama died 2 years back. Eleanor's stomach tightened. There was always something. We're hoping maybe a woman's touch might help. I'll do my best. That night, wind howled through gaps in the cabin walls. Eleanor stared at the rafters and thought about the return fare. Then she thought about Mrs. Hemming's disapproval and the endless grey sameness of Philadelphia. She pulled the blanket to her chin and made herself stay. Monday morning, Eleanor stood at the schoolhouse door, hands clasped to hide their shaking. Then she saw him. Caleb Mercer rode a black gelding, his daughter seated in front of him. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair curling past his collar. There was something barely leashed about him that made Eleanor's mouth go dry. He lifted Lily down with careful gentleness. The girl was all dark braids and solemn grey eyes. Miss Hayes. Caleb Mercer. This is Lily. Eleanor crouched to the girl's level. Hello, Lily. I could use help arranging the books this morning. Would you be willing? Lily stared. Then one quick nod. Eleanor stood and met Caleb's gaze. Up close, he smelled of leather and wood smoke. Silver threaded through his hair at the temples. I'll take good care of her, Mr. Mercer. She doesn't talk. Hasn't since her mother passed. His jaw worked. Doctors say there's nothing wrong. She just won't. Then we'll communicate in other ways. Sometimes words aren't the most important thing. Something flickered in his eyes. School ends at 3. I'll walk her to the edge of town if you're delayed. I won't be late. It sounded like a vow. He rode away without looking back, and Eleanor's heart beat too fast. Lily proved brilliant, completing arithmetic with ease, reading well beyond her years. She communicated through nods and notes written in careful script. Thank you for the book. May I help clean the slates? Caleb arrived precisely at 3 every afternoon. He never lingered, never spoke beyond terse greetings. But Eleanor found herself listening for hoofbeats anyway. On Friday, a storm rolled in with vicious speed. By 2 o'clock, Eleanor could barely see through driving sleet. We're dismissing early, she announced calmly. One by one, parents arrived until only Lily remained. 3 o'clock came and went. Then 4. Eleanor fed more wood into the stove, trying to ignore the fear clawing at her throat. At 4:30, the door burst open. Caleb stumbled in, covered in ice, his face stark with terror. Lily. Papa. The word tore from Lily's throat. She crashed into him and Caleb dropped to his knees, hauling his daughter against his chest. His eyes squeezed shut. His shoulders shook. Baby girl. I thought. I'm okay, Papa. Lily's voice was thin but clear. Miss Hayes kept us safe. When Caleb raised his head, the gratitude in his eyes made Eleanor's chest ache. Thank you. Eleanor turned to the stove, hands trembling. Of course. Can't ride back in this. Creek flooded. We'll have to wait. They spent 3 hours in the schoolhouse while the storm battered the walls. Lily sat pressed against her father and talked about lessons, friends, the new foal, everything locked inside for 2 years. Caleb listened like every word was gold. She was my wife's whole world, he said quietly. When Sarah died giving birth to our son, he didn't make it either. Lily just went silent. Eleanor's throat ached. I'm sorry. I didn't know how to help her. He looked at Eleanor then. Really looked. You did something in a week I couldn't do in 2 years. I just treated her like she mattered. That's everything. The storm broke near 8. Caleb carried sleeping Lily to his horse, then turned back. Let me see you home. Eleanor's cabin was frigid. Caleb set Lily on the bed and built up the fire with efficient movements. You kept my daughter safe. Gave me back her voice. His jaw tightened. I can damn well make sure you don't freeze tonight. When the fire blazed, he straightened. In the firelight, the harsh planes of his face softened. I should go. But he didn't move. Yes. But Eleanor didn't want him to. They stood close enough that she could feel his warmth. Eleanor. Her name in his rough voice sent shivers down her spine. May I call you Eleanor? Yes. I'd like permission to court you proper, if you're willing. Her heart hammered. I don't know anything about courting. I've never. Understanding dawned in his eyes, followed by tenderness. Then we'll figure it out together. Slow and careful. Why me? I'm not young or pretty. You're brave. You came west alone. You treated my broken daughter like she was whole. He paused. That's what I see when I look at you. Eleanor had never been called brave. Yes, she whispered. You can call on me. His smile transformed him, erasing years of sorrow. Caleb came every Sunday after church, Lily skipping at his side. They walked Sweetwater Street, sat on her cabin steps, talked about everything. He told her about the ranch, the loneliness. She told him about nursing her mother, about feeling like a ghost in her own life. You're not invisible to me, he said one evening. You're the most real thing I've seen in years. But it wasn't all smooth. Sometimes he went quiet, locked in grief. One Sunday he arrived smelling of whiskey, apologized stiffly, and left. Eleanor stood in her doorway wondering if she'd been a fool. The next Sunday he came early with late asters. Sometimes the memories get bad. Sometimes I drink to shut them up. I'm trying to do better. I don't need you perfect, Eleanor said. I just need you honest. Something in his face eased. Lily bloomed, her voice growing stronger. She started calling Eleanor Miss Eleanor, then simply Eleanor. Can Eleanor come to the ranch? Lily asked one Sunday. Please, Papa. Caleb's eyes met Eleanor's, uncertain. It's a long ride. I'd like to see it. The Mercer Ranch sprawled across a valley rimmed by mountains. Caleb lifted her down from the wagon, his hands lingering on her waist. It's wonderful, Eleanor breathed. It's home. Sarah and I started with nothing. Lily dragged her everywhere: horses, kittens, chickens. Inside, Eleanor found a kitchen that needed help. Dishes stacked haphazardly, torn curtains, dust everywhere. May I? She gestured to the dishes. You don't have to. I'd like to. She spent the afternoon transforming the kitchen. By evening, dishes gleamed, curtains were mended, stew simmered on the stove. Eleanor. Caleb's voice was rough. You didn't have to. I wanted to help. You've given Lily back her voice. You've given me a reason to think about the future instead of just surviving. They stood in the golden light. Caleb reached out slowly, cupped her face in his calloused palm. I want to kiss you. But I won't unless you want it too. Eleanor's heart hammered. I want to. But I don't know how. Then we'll learn together. He bent slowly and brushed his lips against hers. The kiss was soft, careful, questioning. Eleanor's hands rested against his chest, feeling his steady heartbeat. When he pulled back, his eyes were dark. Was that all right? Yes. Breathless. Yes. Winter arrived brutal and early. Eleanor was trapped in town for days while Caleb sent notes with travelers, thinking of you. Missing you. Stay warm. Then word came that rustlers had hit several ranches. Eleanor was grading papers when someone hammered on her door. Thomas Webb stood there, face grim. It's Caleb Mercer's ranch. Rustlers hit it hard. Lily's with Mrs. Patterson. Caleb went after them alone. The world tilted. He'll be killed. Eleanor grabbed her cloak and her father's pistol. Tell me which way he rode. She'd never tracked anyone, but she hired a horse and rode into the mountains as darkness fell. The cold bit through every layer. She followed hoofprints through snow, praying she wasn't too late. She found him near midnight, slumped against rock, blood seeping through his shirt. Caleb. Eleanor crashed to her knees beside him. Oh God. His eyes focused with difficulty. Eleanor. Too dangerous. You shouldn't. You idiot. Her hands shook examining the wound. Not fatal, but bleeding heavily. You stupid, brave man. Got 3 of them. Cattle are safe. I don't care about the cattle. I care about you. She pressed her cloak against his wound. I will not let you die out here alone. You came for me. Of course I came. Tears froze on her face. I love you, you fool. I need you to stay alive so I can tell you properly. Say it again. I love you. I love you and Lily and your ridiculous ranch. The words tumbled out. I don't know anything about being a wife or mother, but I want to try. I want to be yours. Eleanor. His voice broke. I've been trying to find the courage to ask you for weeks. Then ask me now. While I'm trying to keep you from bleeding to death. He laughed, then groaned. Marry me. Please. Make me the luckiest bastard in Montana. Yes. She kissed him, tasting salt and copper. Yes. Yes. She got him on his horse somehow. Led them down the mountain through darkness. They arrived in Sweetwater near dawn, the whole town spilling into the street. The doctor patched him up while Eleanor sat outside with Lily, both refusing to leave. When the doctor emerged smiling, Eleanor's knees went weak. He'll be fine. Lily threw her arms around Eleanor. You saved him. We saved each other. That's what family does. They married 3 weeks later in the church with the crooked steeple. The whole town crammed into the pews. Lily stood as Eleanor's attendant in a new dress they'd sewn together. When Caleb took Eleanor's hands, he was trembling. I, Caleb Mercer, take you, Eleanor Hayes, to be my lawfully wedded wife. When it came time to kiss, he was achingly gentle. But his eyes promised more patience, passion, partnership. At the ranch that night, after Lily was asleep, Eleanor stood by the fireplace twisting her hands. Caleb approached slowly. We don't have to do anything. If you're not ready, we'll wait. I want to. I'm just frightened. Of disappointing you. Eleanor, look at me. He waited until she met his eyes. You already are what I need. The rest. We'll learn together. I swear I'll be patient. I'll be gentle. I'll make sure you feel safe. He kissed her deeper than before. Eleanor felt something unfurl in her chest. Fear remained, but mixed with trust, with want, with bone-deep certainty that this man would never hurt her. What happened next was awkward and tender and fumbling. Whispered questions and nervous laughter and breathless wonder. Caleb was patient, careful, attentive to every hesitation. When Eleanor finally fell asleep in his arms, she felt claimed and cherished and finally whole. The next morning, Eleanor woke to Lily calling breakfast and burning bacon. Caleb groaned, pressed a kiss to her temple. Welcome to your new life, Mrs. Mercer. Eleanor smiled against his shoulder. No longer the invisible spinster from Philadelphia. No longer untouched and forgotten. She was a wife. A mother. A rancher's partner. She was loved and necessary and home. Outside, the Montana sun rose over the mountains. Inside, a family sat down to breakfast together, imperfect, pieced together from loss and loneliness, but whole at last. Lily chattered about school. Caleb caught Eleanor's eye and smiled. Eleanor poured coffee with steady hands, her heart full. This was her life now. This was her family. Hard-won and precious and real. And though she knew there would be difficult days ahead, harsh winters, failed crops, Lily's nightmares, Caleb's dark moods, she also knew they would face them together. That was more than enough. It was everything. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more historical romances. Drop a comment and tell me where you're listening from. Your support means everything. Thank you.